Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Business Insider makes a case for Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin drifting apart. So they're not anymore, but somehow they get angry because they couldn't agree with the room temperature. I don't believe that, but hey, let's see what kind of arguments Business Insider brings in order to convince us that there's a rift between China and Russia, and for what reasons. And I will discuss the reasons, which I think they are very, very flimsy, or anyways, the evidence they provide. So let's start with this. Business Insider from today, August 9th, 2023. A rift is growing between Xi and Putin after Russia mocked a Ukraine peace plan backed by China. If you think that Russia and China, that trade a lot together, have a problem because of that, well, as I said, we argue because of room temperature, but we're married 20 years or something. Just give you an example, have 5 children together and so on, for the room temperature at a hotel room or something like that. So why would, for instance, China drift away from Russia? What would that happen? What would happen when they do that? They're gonna jump on US's lap? They're running away from that one. So I don't think that happens. What's the option? The only option for China is to be with Russia right now. If Russia loses, China's gonna lose, or is gonna have a harder time facing everybody else on US's side. And they will take care of China after they clear the way in Russia. And China will never have cheap resources shipped to it, oil and gas from Russia. And guess who's going to control that? The conquerors, the victors. So it's an idiotic statement here by these guys, but let's see what arguments they bring. And they put forward 3. Xi is frustrated that Putin won't seek peace in Ukraine, reports say. Well, first one, Putin seeks peace on his terms. After he clears the situation in Ukraine and, let's say, defeats NATO and fulfills Russia's 4 points, there will be peace. So he's looking for peace, as the other guys are looking for peace, which is clear Russia, make sure they place in the leadership position their little weasels, and they take over Russia's resources, Russia's military. They will infect Russia with Western values. Yeah, there's going to be peace. Both sides want peace on their terms. So it's not, if he's frustrated with Putin, he should be frustrated with the Americans and NATO, that they don't seek peace. All right, keep fueling and bringing weapons over there. So that's a idiotic argument. And let's see if there is peace. Will China benefit out of it? I don't think so. I don't think this is the greatest time for China in getting cheap, endless resources. China at this point gets how much natural gas, how much oil it wants from Russia at the lowest price ever. And it sells its products more and more to Russia, because Russia cannot, do business with the Western countries much. So why would they want it? I don't think so. Let's go to the next one. China has touted a 12-point peace plan for Ukraine that Russia hasn't pursued. No, Russia did not pursue that. It was Ukraine which said, China, your points are not. Remember, China came with the peace process, and Zelensky said, you. Then I think Indonesia came with one. A lot of countries came with their peace plan. All of them were refused by Zelensky. He said, only mine works because I have the power somehow. Without your help, I'll be dead. But hey, I impose and tell you what I want. What? It's like you're starving and I give you, a steak to eat. And you say, well, I don't like beef meat. Actually, I like pork. You were starving a minute ago. What are you talking about? Give me the steak, bye-bye, you go starving. This is the situation, the circumstance Zelensky is right now. He's backed by those guys. Ukrainian nation is like this, but he's dictating how he wants things, and he doesn't have shit. Without him, he's gonna go and shake hands with Putin. I think that's the only blackmail. But probably he's gonna go and see Moses before that happens. And he's not in control of that country anyway. So that argument is like, no, wait a minute, that was Zelensky, that was Ukraine's peace plan, and how do you call it? China said, okay, we kind of agree with it, but they had their own. That was not similar to the Ukraine. So, okay, the Russians, what? They're supposed to say, yes, we agree to Zelensky's plan. Do you think the Chinese are idiots or something? Just because they agreed to a plan, which I'm not certain they did, they just say it here, okay? It doesn't mean that immediately because China agreed to that plan, Russia should say, okay, I accept your terms. Why would Russia accept Zelensky's terms and vice versa? So that's idiotic again. Let's go to the third aspect here. China recently attended a peace summit in Saudi Arabia that was described by Russia as doomed to fail. Remember, Russia hasn't pursued that China's to that point, not by Russia. It was Ukraine. It was Zelensky. You can check it online. China recently attended the peace summit. I already discussed that. And Russia says it was doomed to fail. Well, first question. In a peace process, like you're a judge or you're a police officer and you show up at the house, as a police officer, show up at the house at a domestic dispute, all right, violence, whatever. What do? First, you make sure there's no violence, okay? You secure the perimeter, everything is good, you're over there, I'm over here. I interview the first person, all right, suspect. I go to the second suspect, and after that, I'm deciding what am I going to do. The same with the judge. Here's this part, here's the other side. Well, did it happen in Saudi Arabia? No, Russia wasn't invited in Saudi Arabia. So what are these guys talking about? So Russia was not even invited. So these guys tried to make peace, inviting only one side, not listening to the other one. The judge would say, I'm not going to talk to you in your domestic dispute. We're going to only talk to Gigi. Now, is it just? Is it normal? Obviously not. Or the police officer would say, arrest him or her, and I'm going to talk only with, tell me what happened. Arrest, without asking, or not even talking. And I'm going to make my decision only on this person's statements. Is that right? No. If you think it's right, put yourself in this situation with your partner. And God forbid something like this happen, like, and then the police shows up and talks only with your partner, not with you. Do you think that's fair? Obviously not. So again, 3 idiotic points made by Business Insider to tell us that they are drifting apart. How? Why? Why would China drift apart from Russia and drop on whose lap? Their enemy, they're not the enemies here. Their common enemy is the guy who wants to take over them, who wants to have the global hegemony in the name of peace, democracy, and love. Okay, we have to put that. Okay, that's it. So they have a common competitor. Both of them, if they fight alone, they will be probably in time, drained of office resources. Remember, if Russia falls, China is going to have no resources and it's going to be done. Because they say, see that example over there? You got Taiwan. Taiwan is going to be your Ukraine. How about that? So just because the Russians touted or said something, I don't like the room temperature, do you think China said, that is the main point? Man, no, that is. Ignoring all the friendship, ignoring everything else, militarily, economically, strategically, that's tossed to the garbage because Russia used the wrong semantics in one statement. That means zero. So, China's President Xi Jinping has been Russia's president and most important international backer. He's not a backer, he was just a guy who played his cards like this. We're not going to get too involved. We see what's going on. We look at our interest. We suck from these guys. We keep these guys at bay, and we arm ourselves. This is what China is doing. And when we arm ourselves, we hope that Russia does not collapse, in the way it is right now. We're gonna create something that's gonna be against the big guy. That big guy is the guy who takes care of the world, and then hopefully we'll have, we're gonna be left alone, or alone. So yeah, Business Insider. This is how they tell us. Who wrote this article? Let me see if I find a name here. Tom Porter. Well, Tom Porter, I'm sorry. Those 3 points that you started with, it's not. They're not. The 3 points are not relevant. I think they're childish. Sometimes you see, when you have a marriage, let's say a marriage, and you have a marriage, and one of the parties, in the marriage says, you know what, I don't love you anymore because you don't wash dishes, let's say, and I washed all the dishes. If that person wants to divorce because of that, and if you think that that is the reason why, then I think that's very, very low. I'm pretty sure 100% put it, there's many other things that this person that wants to divorce has in mind, and that's only a flimsy reason to divorce, if that's about divorcing. So I don't think, and then leaves. What could be China's reason for a divorce with Russia? What are the alternatives? Do you think that China is so ignorant and so naive to think that it's going to be embraced by the United States? The United States doesn't want partners. The United States wants, servants. That's what it wants. Vassal states. He's the one. The rest is, you help me take over everything, and that's it. And with a few countries that do it because they get the crumbs from U.S. table. That's all. And everybody else goes on the plantation over there cutting sugar cane. And that's it. That's how they want it. They don't want partners. Yeah, we're going to treat you equal, Russia and China. No, they will not. There was one main reason why the Russians said, no, you got to treat us equal. We're not going to accept to be, why would we accept to be your servants? Because we say so. That was the U.S. answer. And then you have it. So no, Business Insider, you are in wrong. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.